Best of r/Tales from Retail episode 138. Subscribe for Reddit videos daily. Tale from the copy shop. I've worked for retail for the past 7 years and I'm glad to say I'm finally out, which gives me the perfect opportunity to share some stories while working here. The good news is that I have a great relationship with my managers, so they are a bit more lenient on what I'm allowed to say. 7 years hardens you and makes your temper all the much shorter. To start this off, I live in an area where there is a lot of families, as in everyone drives minivans or use Toyota Camrys. Most are dented and worn down since the area isn't very rich, and practically no one owns the vehicle they're driving. A father comes in with his kids in tow and briskly walks to the back of the store, our furniture section. He has 5 kids, ranging from oldest being around 8 or 7, to the youngest toddling behind no more than 2 years old. I'm working the copy area, however from my perch I can see straight back and I watch with horror as his 5 kids break off and begin running around the store. They start pulling product off the shelves and whack each other with it. Expensive equipment too, but they don't seem to care. I don't like this obviously, since everything they're throwing around is going to have to be damaged out, considered too damaged to sell, or put back on the shelves neatly since it's all laying on the floor. My supervisor doesn't like this even more and I can see his face turning red the entire time the child tornado is making its rounds up and down the aisles. The father is intensely studying the chairs and holding up my other associate who is glancing back at me wondering what to do about the children. My supervisor finally has had enough when one of them tries to climb up the employee ladder, which is chained and situated against a firewall for the express purpose of not being climbed on. Sup? Interrupting the conversation between my associate and the father. Excuse me sir, could you please watch your children? They can't be grabbing and throwing product off the shelf. Thank you. Father, I'm trying to buy a chair. What do you expect me to do? Sup? I don't know. Watch your kids maybe? Father, looks to me. I don't understand. What do you expect me to do? I'm trying to buy this chair. Emmy, watch your kids. They are wrecking our store. Father, shushes his kids, which gets them to settle down for all of 5 minutes. My supervisor and I hear a crash and the toddler starts crying. Thankfully no one was hurt and they had just knocked down a heavy product which hit the ground and scared the youngest one. This sets off my supervisor. Sup, so I need you to watch your children, or you can leave. Father, softly, what do you expect me to do? At this point we just kinda stare at him, since we just told him what he needs to do. Sup, I'm not the one who chose to have that many kids. This gets him to decide he wants the chair he's been staring at and the other associate helps him get situated. I man the copy center as it got suddenly busy, but my supervisor runs to help clean up and follows the group to make sure they don't make any more mess on their way out. After they leave, I hear over the radio. Sup, someone get his plate number. Manager, why? What's going on? Sup, he can't fit the chair in the trunk of his Camry, so he put down the seats, made the kids get in the trunk and put the chair on the folded seats. What the hell is wrong with people? Unfortunately, he was gone before the cops arrived. I never saw him again, so I wonder if someone along the line got him to stop. Thank you. Next. I don't know how to email. Can't you just do it for me? Our store allows customers to email their print jobs to a server which will then send back a code straight to their inbox and allow them to input it on the machine for quick and easy printing. All of this is fairly obvious. We have signs posted everywhere, not to mention we tell everyone how to do it when they ask us. This is a self-service option. Any order placed with me, a full-service employee, is done online or in person and it's obvious you are expected to pay more for that service. We explain this to every customer. Not only that, but once you get to the machines it is printed clear as day on how to follow the steps, what the email is, and how to input the code once you get it. The steps are simple. Press your option, print, put your card in, select how you are printing, by USB or email, put in your USB or your code, then print. However, if you've ever worked retail, you know just as much as I how people don't read. Regardless, for the sake of customer service I swallow all these thoughts down and try my best to help. A woman comes in and tells me she needs to print from her email. I tell her how and she is almost immediately angry. I don't know how to use email. Can you show me how? Me. I actually don't know your email or the service you use. You would have to find your documents and then I could. W. Why can't you just print it? Me. Well, you need to email it over to this first so we can access it and I'll show you how to print it over on our self-serve printers. W. You have printers back there. Just print it. Moves phone closer to me. Me. Steps back slightly. Unfortunately I can't touch your phone due to the Rona, and this is our full serve area. If I were to print your documents there is a mandatory % upcharge to have them printed on the spot. You can come back at time to pick up your order if you'd want to waive that fee. W. It's one page. You can't just print it. I need this now. I can't wait. Me. Trying to hide my frustration since this is the third time I'm having this conversation and I've got $1,000 jobs that need to be finished. Her $0. 15 job doesn't matter much to me. No. I can't. W. Fine. How do I do it again? Me. Tells her. W. I can't get it. Something's wrong. Me. Looks to see that she is getting an error that she's not signed into her email. You just need to enter your password. W. I don't know my password. Me. Stammers. I don't know your password either. W. What good is that? My phone service just changed and my husband needs these documents printed so now I don't have access to the right email but I need these documents. Me. Well you can just hit reset password and follow the W. No because it's gonna try to text me the code and I don't have the same phone service. Why don't you understand IT's so simple? Me. Trying not to hit this woman. Mom. We are not your phone company. Neither are we your email service. You are using our self-serve area. I've done everything I can for you but this is something you will need. She goes to interrupt me but I raise my voice so she can't. To solve. If you can't access your documents, there is nothing I can do. I can't print what's not in front of me. I can't pull it out of thin air. W. Your job is to help me. Me. And your job is to have your documents ready to print. Now I have other customers I need to help. When you get your document ready I'll be glad to help you. At this point I just ignored her while she sat there and shouted every so often it's still not working. There was nothing I could do. Every avenue I tried to go down to help her she blocked off. Besides, I had a line of 6 or 7 behind her. I'm only one person and I can't sit there for a half hour and play IT. That's simply not my job. He ended up calling the manager over who spent nearly 2 hours with her, only to find out those documents weren't even in her email. She threw a fit, but I was so busy I didn't get to hear it. Thank you. Next. 2 injuries for the price of 1. This all happened today while I was at work. The people involved are okay, as far as I know. Full 1. To give you all an idea where this happened in the store I was at the raw meat section and the person who fell was by the cheese and breakfast sausage. I was doing my job filling orders when I heard a commotion coming from there. So as a good employee I walked fast over to see what is happening. When I got close one of the people yelled that someone needs to call 911. Freaked out at this point I sprinted over and saw an elderly woman on the floor bleeding from the head. Thankful she was fully alert and moving around and talking. Note, I didn't learn this till later by another co-worker that a 4-year-old boy pushed into her knocking her over. It was an accident and the child was remorseful. The co-worker that called 911 said they are on their way. Up you should go find a manager. So I did. I straight up ran to the manager's office and saw one coming out and told them to just follow me, a customer is hurt. She followed shortly after a pharmacy tech with a pair of the medical examiner glove on. The big boss of the grocery store I work at came in while the technician was talking to the customer and told me and my co-workers to go back to work and they handle things from there. Last I heard about it the woman needed stitches and went to the hospital. Story 2. I was putting up my trolley after my shift and saw some elderly woman on the ground outside the store. I asked them if everything was okay and was told she just fell over. I looked under the woman's head and noticed some blood and told them. So I went and got some paper towels and the same tech from earlier was already there. She told me to get Big Boss and I try and find him. Got no luck. The woman's husband just drove her home because she didn't want to call 911. TLDR. 2 people got hurt and only 1 went to the hospital. Thank you. Next. A single gesture is enough. Sometimes. So, I work in the deli department and today was stressing to say the least. Since my location also prepares the online shop for half of the state, non-American, so lot smaller, we had a lot of trouble getting the bread, preparing the snacks, just overall was stressing. I am a slow worker and have trouble concentrating and prioritizing certain tasks, and when I am finished with one task, I can't tell which one to do next. So in the end, I just ran. From 8 AM to 1 PM, I did have a break, but I got more and more disorientated. Turning around and there was another customer. Each customer ordered like 4 buns with open the fresh one or also add those 3 other things that you don't even have, and or wait. I changed my mind, argued about certain rules. I was one stupid comment away from just walking out. At 2 PM, I still had lots of things to do. For the online shop, for my co-workers and for my boss. I just finished serving a customer when this angel of a man came. I told him, please, just a moment, and ran to the oven, threw the bread in and ran back. I probably hit my arm on 3 objects in those 10 seconds. And he now, let's just breathe, he said. I nearly felt like crying, because he was so calm. I inhaled and he smiled, as seen by his eyes, and this simple gesture slowed the world down. My head stopped spinning. Are you better? He then asked, and I was. Thank you for treating me like a human. Thank you. Next. No sir, I'm not going to melt your phone. Another tale from the copy shop. Going to be posting a bunch since I'm finally free. It's a busy afternoon and I'm running around as usual when a gentleman walks up to the counter. He's struggling to communicate what he wants, so I'm doing my best to understand and decipher. Man, I would like to illuminate this. Puts phone down in front of me. Me. I'm sorry, what would you like to laminate? Man, a little frustrated. The telephone. Me. Oh. You want a screen protector? Man, yes. To protect the screen. I want the plastic. Gestures by covering his phone with his hands. Me. Oh well, you can try out. Brand name product right here on that wall. I'll need to get a tech to help you with that since it isn't my department. I point to some of our phone armor products as well as some cases/screen protectors which are adjacent to my department. Man. He looks at them and then comes back to me. No, not that. I want this. He picks up a piece of our sample lamination and puts it on top of his phone. Me. So you can't laminate your phone. I think you want a screen protector. Man, no screen protect. I want lamination. Me. Sir, our lamination runs at over 250 degrees. Your phone would melt if I could even get it in the machine. It's for paper only. Man. I don't understand. I want laminate this. Holds up his phone. Me. I'm going to get you a tech to speak with. I think they will be more help than I. So my tech comes over and handles it. Takes the guide to the screen protectors, but it's clearly not what he wants. My tech then demonstrates what lamination is, and why a phone can't get it done. But the man still doesn't understand. Eventually we don't really know what to do, and we end it with I'm not sure we can help you. It takes a while, but he gets the point and leaves. Thank you. Next. There's a man outside without his shirt, screaming. In high school I worked part-time at a small grocery store/pharmacy. I was putting out the new sales tags for the week and keeping an eye on the register as I'm the only cashier at the time. A lady comes in looking confused, does a quick look around and spots me. She rushes over and quietly goes, there is a man outside him, thinking of course, we're in town. But she continues. He has no shirt on and is screaming. We both pause and hear nothing. I thank her for the information because I sure don't want a crazy coming in. There was a big window across the entire front of the store so I could see a ways but saw nobody, and I sure wasn't going outside after hearing that from the lady. Not too long later, when the lady is somewhere in the store, I hear it. And sure as ever, a man, with no shirt, grey sweatpants, with a massive wet spot on the back, and a massive scar going across his forehead. I watched him stumble into the trash can outside and then shuffle around it before coming inside. I was a good distance away and he makes eye contact. I panic. He walks into a small display table, leans over it, and without breaking eye contact, yells at me. So as any sane person might, I turn and walk the other way. So now I'm trying to find the manager. I have to keep an eye on the register so I still can't go far, but I can't find my boss, and paging her isn't an option as it alerts the entire store over the comm. The man stumbles into the bee-infested back room, another story, and presumably towards the pharmacy door as that's the only way in. Thankfully the lady that came in earlier found my manager and she called the cops, who showed up pretty fast. As the cops get there, my co-worker who was on lunch comes out. The break room is in the back room, so he saw the man stumble by, and he tells me how the cops were looking for that guy earlier. Like, you couldn't have warned me that some crazy had escaped from the hospital? That's where he came from, with the cop on either side of the guy, who now miraculously has a shirt on? One cop asks him if he fell in a puddle, to which he responds like a normal person, saying that he did fall in a puddle. Where did he get a shirt? How did he escape? If he could speak, why was he screaming? Why did his walk like a zombie? I have so many questions. Thank you. Next. Sorry mom, you cannot return your meat. First post in this subreddit for forgive me for any mistakes. I was told to post this here after a mishap in another subreddit. A bit of background. I used to work for a large grocery store chain in California. Ended up with surgery and now frozen shoulder. So during the time between PT and surgery I was able to work at self-checkout. No one likes self-checkout. Anyways, back to the story. Me, old foreign customer, OFC, me, watching people check out items, looking at the screen and fixing any issues, i.e. coupons, weight on the scale, veggies with no number. OFC is from another country. She hands me a bag and says, I want to return this meat. Me, okay, do you have a receipt? OFC, no. Me, okay, no problem. Do you have any issue with store credit? OFC, no problem. I get out the meat. I start looking at the information on the package. The meat is frozen to the touch and brown. It's a pork roast that has seen better days. I try to scan it but it won't scan. Me, just give me a moment. Sometimes it doesn't always scan. OFC, okay. I keep trying to scan but it's degraded. I look at the date and wouldn't you believe it? The meat was almost a year old. The OFC tried to return a year-old meat to purchase new meat. Our store doesn't take meat that old and she didn't want to use it. Me, I'm sorry OFC, I can't take this because it's too old. OFC, why not? It's sit in freezer. I no use. Me, it's almost a year old. We cannot take meat that old. I gave back the meat and told my front-end manager. We had a good chuckle. TLDR. OFC tries to return fully frozen block of 1-year-old meat to grocery store.